Hi, Assalamualaikum guys. My name is Siti Sofia binti Muhammad Zulkifli from class MC1101A all the way in campus Rumah Negeri Sembilan. So if you are wondering, my purpose in making this video is as a speech to persuade you all to stay away from drug shit. In the minutes of life on earth, various types of social symptoms they are getting worse in our country, especially cases of drug abuse among nations are becoming more serious and spreading around the world. This problem is like a thorn in the flesh. Every day, the cases of drug abuse that make us a bitch are often plastered on the chests of the print media. And yes, scream up of the funnels of the electronic media. This phenomenon is very upsetting to all parties. So, here is the video how addiction looks like.
Are you affected by drug use? Is it impacting those around you? Addiction is a brain disease that affects about 10% of the population. The problem is, everyone else does not understand what addicts go through every day. Addiction is not a moral failing, it is a health issue. You don't want to become addicted, just as you wouldn't want to get cancer. You may struggle to deal with stress or intense emotions, and use drugs or alcohol as a coping mechanism. Or you may try drugs just to experience new things. But an addict can't stop, and you end up using more and more. You're then caught in the cycle of addiction. Soon come the consequences of your drug use. Your relationships begin to suffer. Your finances take a hit. Your career is affected. Your mental health deteriorates. You may feel depressed or anxious. You may have legal issues. You may have been arrested. What began as relief now creates pain. You're at crisis point, so you turn back to drugs for more relief. And the cycle continues, but gets worse and worse. Don't let it keep tearing your life apart.
Taking drugs from teenagers will increase the risk of causing serious addiction as age increases. Teenagers are more prone to physical and social problems than adults because at this time, their brains and bodies are still developing. Drugs and alcohol can cause disruption to brain functions that control motivations, memory, learning, decision. It's mean making abilities and even behavioral control. It is therefore not surprising that those who take drugs from teenagers will often face family problems, problems at school, unsatisfactory exam results, as well as health problems, including mental health. They will also become more likely to engage in criminal activity. In early adulthood, the prefrontal cortex is still not fully matured, and those involved with drugs will have difficulty in analyzing situations, making decisions and controlling emotions and patience. Here is a video on how addiction affects the brain.
Say the word addiction, and drugs such as alcohol, heroin, and cocaine often come to mind. But other substances like nicotine, marijuana, and prescription pain medications can also be addictive. So can certain activities such as gambling and sex. Whatever the case, addiction involves craving and a loss of control, with the substance use or activity continuing even if it causes harm. This can include problems with relationships, jobs, school, money, or your health. Addiction is not due to weakness or a lack of willpower. Instead, it's a chronic disease involving changes in the brain. There, billions of nerve cells or neurons communicate through a series of signals and chemical messengers. When messages leave one neuron, they attach to a receptor on the receiving one, like a key fitting into a lock. In addiction, this communication process is disrupted. Large amounts of a brain chemical called dopamine are released, overwhelming receptors and resulting in the high that people experience. To keep that feeling going, they take the drug or engage in the behavior again and again. Eventually, the brain changes and adapts, driving them to seek out more just to get the same feeling. That's called tolerance. Stopping a substance can cause withdrawal symptoms such as nausea, tremors, depression, or severe anxiety. Taking too much of a substance or a combination of substances can result in an overdose and serious illness, or even death. Young people are especially vulnerable to addiction. The impulse control center of their brains, known as the prefrontal cortex, isn't fully developed, making them more prone to risky behavior. And using substances can cause lasting harm to their developing brains. If you think your child might be experimenting with substances, talk to them about it. Parents can help by taking a strong stand against substance use and teaching their kids healthier ways to deal with life's stresses. Like any other disease, such as diabetes or asthma, addiction can be successfully treated. So if you or someone you know has a problem with addiction, talk to your doctor, a mental health professional, or an addiction specialist. Getting help may save a life.
Various drastic measures need to be planned and implemented to combat the threat of drugs. In an effort to curb this growing problem, parents play a role important enough to ensure their children do not also get stuck in this problem. They need to take the time enough to be with the kids. This caring, responsible, and loving attitude can prevent teenagers from falling into this problem. And parents need to be provided all needs and education, both formal and informal, in an effort to deter their children from getting stuck into the traps of drug abuse. Children should be given adequate religious education and supervise every movement and their associations since childhood. Truly, a formation and adolescent personality is largely determined by family institutions. Drug abuse prevention education in school constitutes yearly step to curb drug abuse in teenagers. If not curbed, this problem will continue to threaten the welfare of the country. Prevention education on its policy aims to educate as well as provide information to make teenagers aware of the dangers of drug abuse before it is too late. Of course, we don't want to see teenagers fall into this abyss of humiliations. The role of the school in combating this problem is very important. Among the programs that can be implemented is the intellectual spiritual care program. And this program was educate them to stay away from drug phases. Therefore, the role of the school is very important in inculcating a culture of drug-hating adolescents and beyond, helping this group stay away from drug phases before it gets worse. In addition, government as well as non-governmental organizations can play a role in reducing drug abuse. Among them are through the Rakan Muda program, motivational camps, and other programs that cover a variety of activities. This is because through these camps, the teenagers can fill their free time with more rewarding activity. The government can also hold anti-drug campaign and broadcast it through the mass media. Invite laws and penalties of drug abuse offense and drug trafficking should be tightened further to avoid this problem continuing to spread. Established agencies such as the Anti-Drug Agency National (AADK) need to streamline their monitoring machinery for former addicts so that they do not return to drug addiction again. Lastly, teenager self-awareness is important to stay away from drug phases. This self-awareness is important for forming a positive mindset in order to always make something with rational thought. They should always be reminded of the importance of life in the future. Teenagers are now too vulnerable to social interaction. The unhealthy intern plunges them into this arena of drug abuse. Therefore, self-awareness is very important. They need to know the difference between the good and the bad. There is no need to follow friends' lead because follow the heart of the dead, follow the sense of prediction. Quality friends are also pillars in self-help. Teens become quality as well. Drugs can destroy a person's happiness in life. When a person is addicted to drugs, then his future is drugged. Drug addicts are unable to work and take care of family members, especially children. Drug addicts will be weaker and the defense against pain will be lower. Therefore, he will experience irregular pain. Their life will always be tormented by nausea, dizziness, abdominal pain, cramps, vomiting, and various other symptoms of the disease. The most devastating symptom of disease as a result of drug use is the syndrome of low immunity, AIDS. And the cause is not drug, but a viral infection of flow resistant to disease, HIV, on shrink shared with others addicts. When young people are influenced by drugs, they will no longer be useful to society. Drug addicts will be more easily upset and emotional unstable. They are also willing to rob, often quarrel, and willing to kill simply because of drugs. Even the harmony, peace, and security of community is threatened. In addition, drug addicts are lifeless, weak, and unable to manage themselves. The community and the government had to buy necessities for drug addict rehabilitation effort. By doing so, the country will also become an underdeveloped country and looked down upon by other countries. Indeed, there are many dangers as a result of child abuse. Therefore, drugs are considered the main enemy of the country. The government also launched various campaigns to curb drug abuse. This effort should be supported and should not be borne by the government alone. We must together be responsible to eradicate this problem of drug abuse for the sake of national security and the well-being of society in general. So yeah, say no to drugs,